Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy. I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry. Today, I'm going to talk to you of another film. This cord here is a bit underrated. Is it one of the best A24 films? No. It's one I thought had some uniqueness to it. And I'm talking about the Adderall Diaries, starring James Franco, Amber Heard, Ed Harris, and Timothy Chalamet. It's a story of a successful author who suddenly is trying to do a story on this court case that's happening about this man who's murdered his wife, and he's put on trial. Whoa, hell, trial. But soon gets a visit from his father, and his world kind of turns upside down, questioning his past, his upbringing, and how his upbringing has impacted his views on the court case. So he does a little bit deep diving as to what really happened between him and his father. And this is an interesting film. By all means, this is not a perfect A24 film at all. I mean, this film has some issues. And I can tell you, it's one of those indie films that the movie came out in 2015, has slept under the radar. And maybe for a good reason. I could tell you this film is a little bit unfocused. Because the overall story of this film is that in the film, James Franco plays this author, this successful writer who's publishing a book, and then his father, played by Ed Harris, tells him that everything that happens in that novel is BS because the novel is based somewhat on his life. It's like an autobiographical novel. And tells him that it's a BS novel, and he's lying about almost everything about his past relating to his father. So, and from how the movie transpires and a lot of the activities that this character does in the flashback, I'm talking about referring to James Franco's character, he does a lot of very destructive things, drugs, so forth, following the wrong path. And it kind of dives into a mystery a little bit as to he said kind of scenario. But the film kind of flashes back more on James Franco's perspective until there's a big reveal of what really happens, where the guy's basically blaming his father for everything that's happened to him and the way he views his life and how he's handling certain issues. Like, the guy would randomly hook up with sex workers, and it shows that sometimes it feels a bit random, like just out of the blue. And then he's also having a relationship or trying to construct a relationship with Amber Heard's character. And I know I am recommending, okay, I'm gonna just stop this for a minute. I know I'm recommending a film for people who do not support these two actors, and I don't support these two actors for what they've done. I don't. But I'm gonna tell you, this film is really not that bad. It has some uniqueness, and I kind of like where the story was kind of go, but it doesn't feel like it holds up a little bit. And what I mean by holding up, it's not a very engaging kind of film. I think it's a film that kind of takes a while to kind of get into. I think you're curious as to what really happened between the two characters, the father and the son, and I think the film does a great job setting up some of these scenes, and the performances wise from James Franco and Ed Harris, they're great. They're great, but it does feel like that part of the story, which is really the main story, overshadows the other and I'm talking about the other with the court case scenario with Christian Slater. Christian Slater is also in this. That kind of gets a what's the term? Kind of a sit back. Like that part of the plot doesn't really focus, but it's not really the main focus. It takes a big step back. And it's kind of like, I would say, that part of a story is kind of a metaphoric journey of James Franco's character trying to really understand what his father was trying to do and the situations that they dealt with each other earlier in their years when James Franco's character was in his teens. And the teen character is played by Timothy Chalamet. Because the film kind of paints you as Ed Harris as this very mean, aggressive, old, kind of abusive father. But in reality, the more it kind of gets, the more that the film reveals itself and to kind of see what really happens, it kind of makes James Franco the victim. No, not the victim. But a victim in the sense to where he's blaming other people for his own scenarios. And really not able to really handle healing from his trauma. And hasn't found a good way to really listen and blaming people for why his life is shitty. Which is something that a lot of people that I've noticed play the self-victim kind of thing. Where he does that a lot in this film. Amber Heard is okay in this film. She's, to me, to be honest with you, I think this is her best performances that I've seen from... I haven't seen a lot of her work, but to me, this is her best performance. She's not in the film long. And there are a few good scenes in there where they kind of set up where it deals more with mentally with James Franco's character, where the guy is pretty much, in a way, torturing himself. But it's kind of like... characters overcoming trauma and not really accepting the truth until something really happens, like some sort of traumatic event happens. The film does feel a little bit unfocused, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel focused enough to where it pinpoints a certain moment into the film where it keeps you kind of engaged, except for the performances. But I don't think this film is that bad from what the critics lash it out to be. Because it's really about a journey about a man who thought a certain way about his past, and it took quite a few talkings to actually have him listen and to really understand what really happened to him, why this trauma really occurred in the first place. So this is a not bad film. I mean, I would recommend it. I mean, it's it's decent. It's a decent film, A24 film. I would recommend it. The Adderall Stories. Have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie.